Good morning. Today we take a look at how this student's woodworking hobby became a small business.
And we ask, why are some students making the decision to do online school instead of in person?
Plus, the CPHS girls basketball team is headed to state, and we have all the updates, and then we'll toss it over to Luke and Katie for sports.
Get caught up on the top 5 things you need to know today with Justin Bohrer. And if you need some help finding a scholarship for those big tuitions, Jack Polishuk has got you covered. Plus, a new segment to help improve your study habits and finish the year strong.
So that is crazy that our girls basketball team is going to state this week.
I know, and they won it by a big margin. I mean, they scored like 25 points more. I mean, they scored 40 last week and then 75 like last game.
Wow.
What do you think about it?
No, that's amazing. I'm really excited for the girls.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard that Coach Ott hasn't been to state before. Is that true?
Yeah,
Or
he
no?
hasn't. This is his first year.
I bet it's super exciting for them.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of another student doing well, while many of us like to play video games, shop, play instruments, and take part in typical activities, a handful of us have hobbies that are more distinct than others. Freshman Mason Casel turned his unique woodworking hobby into a small business with the working title of MB Handcrafts. Reporter Ignacio has more on this.
Thanks guys, I spoke with Mason about his perspective and experience running the business, along with how it all came together. Mason's woodworking hobby began when his dad gave him a lathe as a present and slowly taught him how to create small handcrafts with it. But as his creativity and ambition grew, so did the tools and the amount of materials that he used.
I started this around the middle of last summer. That's when I first got the lathe, and then it kind of all went taking over the garage from there. So the lathe is kind of our main tool that we use, but we have other tools around like the drill press that helps a lot with the pens and stuff for drilling, the grinder to sharpen the tools obviously, the Dremel to clean up little bits and carve out little bits, and the scroll saw obviously to help with cutting blanks or just any fine detail work. And yes, it's fun.
With the tools and experience on his side, he decided to begin building a small business to sell his crafts so he can fund and continue his hobby as well as share his creativity with the world. Although Mason mainly specializes in pens, he also makes and sells a variety of other tools and knickknacks such as kitchen utensils, plant pots, yo-yos, picture frames, and more. They also take specific requests via email where he can discuss prices and availability.
I mainly like creating pens for the most part because they're decently simple to make, yet it's a complex process. What I like about it the most is the satisfaction you get from watching a creation come together from a log or just a piece of wood into the final product. I'm pretty much motivated by the satisfaction you get when a project finally comes together, and when you give it to somebody, especially because like you get to see the joy light up in their eyes. And there's definitely an artistic touch that comes into play. I get lost in all the details from time to time, and it definitely adds characters to each individual product. I'm sure this will stick with me for probably the rest of my life. It's probably one of my favorite hobbies yet.
Mason is currently working on his website, but if you're interested in his products, are curious about prices, or want to submit a request, make sure to reach out to him by email at casel.mason@gmail.com.
Speaking of starting a business, I remember sophomore year when I tried to start my own business, made an Instagram and everything, and now the Instagram is used for my disposable camera account. So
What business
that's
was
how
it?
that's going.
Why did it go under?
Yeah, what happened?
It was supposed to be a clothing line. We all remember, specifically designed by me, potentially made by me, and we just didn't have the funds or even know how to achieve that. So
Oh my God.
there's that.
Many students have struggled this year with coming back to in-person, whether it's due to anxiety of possibly contracting COVID-19 or concerns over the sudden change in learning environments due to the pandemic. Thankfully, CPHS allows students to choose whether they feel more comfortable learning in person or online. But what about the students that tried one way and had a change of heart? After junior Grace Van Lanningham went to school in person for 3 weeks before making the decision to go back to online.
When I went in person, it made me feel more stressful, and I couldn't get as much of my work done as I could if I was at home. So I switched back to online because I had more my own time to finish my work, and I was in my own space.
Students, if you're struggling in person or online, talk to your counselor about making the switch to what's best for you.
The road to state for girls basketball is now over, and our Cedar Park Lady Timberwolves are fired up as they will be playing in the UIL State Championship game this Wednesday. Since Coach Ott took over for the program 4 years ago, the girls basketball team has never worked harder, and it's earning them a rightful place in the state's playoffs. The Lady Timberwolves have not lost a game since November 13th, and we are hoping to keep it that way on Wednesday. Junior Angie Sacco explains how she is feeling being close to winning a state title.
Going to state this year means so much to me because even though we didn't have a regular school year, we were still able to put in as much work as we can and try to make this basketball season as normal as we could and stay focused during film hours, during practices, during games, and just to work hard for each other to make it this far and hopefully come back with the state championship.
The girls basketball team is scheduled to play in the state championship chip game against Frisco Liberty on Wednesday at the Alamo Dome starting at 7 p.m. Make sure to go out there and support an amazing program.
Up next, Justin Bohrer has got the top 3 things we need to know for today.
Good morning, I'm Justin Bohrer, and here are the top 3 things you need to know this morning. The city of Cedar Park received a gift from the city of Collingdale, Pennsylvania of 58,000 bottles of water to Central Texas Food Bank to help Austinites who are facing water shortages after Winter Storm Uri. Next, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife recently remarried a science teacher in Seattle. Quote, Dan is such a great guy, and I'm happy and excited for both of them, end quote. Mr. Bezos said in his statement. Ms. Scott recently ranks the 22nd richest person, while Mr. Bezos is in the top spot with a fortune of $177 billion. Meghan and Harry were interviewed by Oprah Winfrey for a 2-hour CBS primetime special. During this interview, Meghan and Harry opened up about the color of their future baby, and Meghan's mental illness issues played a huge role in why they left the royal family.
Thanks, Justin. Guys, I actually watched the interview last night, and it was truly something else I've never seen before.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it was on my Oprah. How was that?
No, she definitely was amazing for, the role. She really tried to get them to go as in-depth as they could, because even though they aren't still tied to the royal family, technically, the things they say will still come back to haunt them. But it was really good. I mean, Meghan opened up about her suicidal thoughts that she had that were dismissed by the royal family and whatnot. She talks about, racial tensions for her and her son. And overall, I think it was a really good interview and kind of just showed, what they went through and why they left. And now I feel like people will be more understanding of it.
Yeah,
but it was very,
definitely.
very, very good.
I mean, we the public don't really get this point of view a lot of times. So whenever like someone like Oprah or a really good interviewer does do and go and tackle a story, we get really good insight. And I'm really glad that some light got shed onto this.
And they're able to tell, their side of the story themselves instead of from the press.
Definitely.
It's been a busy week for CPHS Sports. Luke Johnson and Katie Whitmarsh join us for more.
Hello, Cedar Park, and welcome back to the Wolfcast Sports Report. I'm Luke Johnson.
And I'm Katie Whitmarsh.
Starting off with some very exciting news, our girls basketball team will be heading to San Antonio this Wednesday for the state championship game.
That's right, Luke. On Saturday, your Lady T-Wolves played against Beaumont United in the state semifinals and came out with an impressive score of 75-51. Graduating from the Final Four and up to the final 2 teams in the state. This is their first potential state title in the program's history.
This Wednesday, March 10th, our Lady Timberwolves will play against the Frisco Liberty Redhawks at the Alamo Dome at 7 p.m. Tickets for the game will be available today starting at noon. Make sure you get your tickets because this will be a game you don't want to miss.
Absolutely. Swinging over to baseball, our boys are scheduled to play Lake Travis at Lake Travis tomorrow starting at 6 o'clock. Good luck, boys.
On the girls' side of things, the CPU softball team beat Dripping Springs on Saturday 5-4, putting their record at 6-5-2. Their next matchup is against Glenn this Friday at 7 p.m. at Glenn. If you see a softball player, make sure to tell them congrats and good luck.
And finally, moving on to soccer, the boys team fell short to Eastview on Friday, ending the game 2-1. But looking on the bright side, they are scheduled to play Rouse tomorrow at 7:15 on the CPHS field. Good luck, boys.
Unlike the boys, our girls soccer team came out with a huge dub against Eastview, 13-0. Way to go, ladies. Their next match will also be tomorrow against Rouse at Rouse, starting at 7:15. Well, that's all we have for you today. For more updates on the Basketball State Championship, follow at CPHS Lady B-Ball. With CPHS News, I'm Luke Johnson.
And I'm Katie Whitmarsh. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Luke and Katie. Deadlines are approaching fast. Seniors, don't miss out on your chance to apply for this week's scholarship.
Thanks, y'all. Are you interested in farming or working in the grocery industry? Then the Asparagus Club Scholarship might be for you. Students should be interested in earning a degree in business, food, management, or the retail grocery industry. Students also must have a GPA of 2.5 or more. For more information, visit nationalgrocers.org. Tune in next week for a new scholarship. Back to y'all at the desk.
Are you having trouble studying? Ileana Tangarova has some great tips on how you can stay focused.
Hey Cedar Park High School, my name is Ileana Tangarova and this is Study Sessions, a segment where I help fellow high schoolers stop procrastinating and actually start studying for real. First of all, everybody knows that getting up to study is a pain. Nobody wants to get out of bed and study, right? Well, the best advice I can give to that is give yourself a motivator. Whether it's a snack, it's coffee, it's a movie, it's a FaceTime group that you have, it's really anything that you enjoy doing. It's also important to give yourself a peaceful place to study. I don't recommend staying in your bed because that's an area where you relax. You don't want to study there. Whether you get in your closet, get on the floor, go to your kitchen, go to the living room, anywhere else where it's a zen area where you can actually work on what you want to work on. A small tip is to make yourself weekly objectives. So, let's say that you have some Spanish or French tests coming up and there's vocabulary on there that you have no idea what it is. Well, give yourself a goal. Let's say 10 to 15 vocabulary words throughout the week that you want to learn. Every day learn 5. Take a sticky note, slap it on your wall, write down the word 5 times with its translation. Boom, every time you look at the wall, you'll see the answer. Instead of cramming all in one night, cram it throughout the week. Another tip I have for y'all is to make study groups. When you have someone next to you, you're more likely to actually stay focused instead of sidetracking or procrastinating. Don't do this without your teacher's permission because I am not getting sued or expelled. My final piece of advice is to take a quiz to understand what kind of learner you are. There are 3 types: audible, visual, and kinetic types of learners. By understanding which one you are, you have a more specialized study type that you could prefer. Well, thank you so much for listening. With CPHS News, I'm Ileana Tangarova, and this is Study Tips. That's all we have for today. Make sure you're keeping up with all of our content, so head over to our YouTube at CPHS News.
You can also follow at CPHS_sports for more updates.
Join us Wednesday for a new edition of the Pack Chat and a HOSA Health Minute.
Thanks for taking time to join us this morning.
With CPHS News, I'm Luke Johnson.
I'm Abby Martinez.
And I'm Ella Neal. Remember to make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.